Get clear on what it is that you want and setting your intention behind what it is that you want. When you are very clear on what it is that you desire, the universe will bring it to you faster because you're being very specific and you're getting down to the nitty gritty. And when you're doing that, you're telling the universe exactly like, this is what I want. Some people do better at manifesting in steps. Um, that's wild. Sorry, because I was just like, oh, I'm thinking of my grandma today. I want to see a yellow butterfly. And a yellow butterfly literally just came on my porch. Anyways, when you get very clear on whatever it is that you are manifesting, it will come to you quicker. And your brain is literally like a software system running all day. It is a scientific proven fact. You can look up Dr. Joe Dispenza on YouTube, and he does a better job at explaining that aspect of it. Your brain is firing and wiring new neurons all day anyways. So you are creating that the more you feed it whatever it is that you want. If you want to manifest in steps, you can. If you're like, oh, I want a text, or I want a date, or I want a coffee, or I want $50, or I want whatever, you can do that. And that's a great way of like building your confidence in manifesting. For me, I like to just go straight to the end and straight for the whole enchilada. I don't want appetizers. I want my meal, like the whole damn thing right now. So I do it that way. An example too is like I told y'all last week, I was consciously manifesting some things. And I always say consciously manifesting because you're always manifesting. When you're consciously manifesting, you're just aware of what you're doing and your intentions. So I wanted to move out of my salon studio. I didn't want to be in there anymore. I don't want to run my business there. And I gave them a notice that like, hey, I'm going to be moving out. Like, what do I need to sign anything? Like, whatever. And they in turn was like, well, we're changing the locks on your door. You can't come in here to get your stuff. You got to pay X amount of dollars, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, that's fucking absurd. I'm not doing that. I've never heard of that. I've been doing hair and makeup for 15 and a half years. What are you talking about? And so instead of arguing with her, I was just like, okay. And because I consciously manifest. So I was like, okay. And I spent like that the rest of that day, half of the next day. And I was just like, isn't it wonderful that I was able to get my stuff out of the salon without paying extra money? Isn't it wonderful and I said the manager's name, called me and just told me to come and pick up my stuff. And then literally the next day she called me, and I was in class, so I couldn't answer the phone. So I called her back and I was like, hey, I had a missed call from you, whatever. She was like, yeah, actually, if you could just come and get your stuff and just make sure you bring the old keys with you, that'll be fine. And you can just pay us whatever you owe, instead of like the extra money. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Same thing happened with my very first salon. I was in there doing a viewing, like a walkthrough to see the place before I'd signed my lease agreement. And I wasn't really happy with the price the guy was giving me. And I was just like, I don't like that price. Like he needs to come down like $300 a week or whatever. And that might not sound like a lot, but $300 extra a week is a lot to me. So I was like, I don't want that. So he turns and looks at me and he says, you know what? We'll knock off an extra $300 a week for you since you're new for like X amount of time. I think he was like for the year or something. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Then I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it be nice if like they just gave me like 2 or 3 weeks free so I could get in here, get started, get my foot in the door, things like that. And then he turns around and he says, because he was about to walk out the door, and he's like, you know what? Matter of fact, let's just give you like 3 weeks free. That way you can get started and get your feet wet and things like that. And then I'm literally sitting there and I'm like, okay, I know in my mind I'm signing this lease. I was like, okay, I need to get a painter. God, I don't really want to like pay for all that, because I'm thinking it costs so much money, y'all, to open a salon and buy equipment and buy all this stuff. So I wasn't really trying to spend a whole lot. Like, again, I'm a single mom. I ain't got time for all that. So he looks at me and he goes, and if you want to paint, I got a painter that can come in here and he'll paint for you. You just have to pay him $100. I was like, oh, sweet. So where's my lease at? So you can manifest instantly, but once you get clear on your intention and you know exactly what it is that you want, if you want marriage, if you want 50,000, if you want a new job, if you want a new car, envision yourself in that car. Know that you can have that car. Like, nothing is outside of you. And my intention behind every video that I post is that it falls on those ears that needs to hear it, and that it helps you in some way. Set your intention behind whatever it is that you are doing every day, y'all, because the universe is always listening. And your mind is like a plant, like I said yesterday, and you need to be watering those seeds, aka your manifestations.